Good day, everyone. Today, my group will delve into the philosophy of Neo-Daoism, or Xuanxue, a critical movement that shaped Chinese thought during the Weijin period. Our discussion will cover the origins of Xuanxue, its major figures, and its evolution through key historical phases. We will explore how this movement was an intellectual and cultural reaction to the changing social landscape of its time and how its insights continue to resonate in modern thought. Now, to begin with, we will first introduce you to Shangzhou and then explore how it was influenced by the historical, political, and social environment of its time. Our discussion will follow these steps: introduction to Shangzhou and its foundational ideas, the background influences of the Eastern Han Dynasty, the development of Shangzhou during the Wei Dynasty, the flourishing of Shangzhou in the Jin Dynasty. By the end of the presentation, you will have a clear understanding of Shangzhou's key themes and its relevance to both ancient and contemporary philosophical discussion. Now, let's proceed to the overview of Shangzhou, where Shangzhou, meaning learning the mysterious or profound, was a philosophical movement that arose in the Weijin period, or 220 to 420 CE. At its core, Shangzhou sought to explore the Tao, the fundamental way of the universe, through profound and abstract thought. So the central texts of this tradition were the Dao De Jing by Lao Tzu, the Jiangji, and the Yi Jing, or the Book of Changes, collectively known as the three texts of profundity. These texts were foundational for Taoist philosophy, with the Tao Te Ching focusing on the principles of non-action and natural harmony. So, Zhuangzi emphasizing the relativity of all things, and Yi Jing presenting a framework for understanding change and divination. Shangzhou philosophers used these texts as a springboard to delve into the deeper metaphysical aspects of Taoism. Now, in modern terms, the search for deeper truths through abstract concepts can be likened to contemporary philosophical movements such as existentialism or even the field of quantum physics. Much like how quantum theory explores the unseen and often paradoxical nature of reality. Now, Shangsu engaged with questions of existence, non being, and the ineffable nature of Tao, probing the mysteries of the universe through contemplation. Now, here, now, let's proceed to the historical context, themes, and significance of Shangzhou, which emerged during the Weijin period, a time of significant political and social change in China. The fall of the Han Dynasty led to fragmentation, and the rise of a new class of intellectuals, which is the gentry, created a unique environment for philosophical development. So, Kanishanga period also saw the influence of Buddhism entering China, which intertwined with Taoist and Confucian ideas, which creates a fertile ground for philosophical innovation. Now, Shangzu explored several key themes: being and non being. So, philosophers reflected on the relationship between existence and non existence. Ang kanilang theme was central to the Taoist worldview, which emphasized the fluidity of reality and the impossibility of fully capturing the essence of the Tao thought, language, or thought. So the ineffability of Tao, the Tao itself could not be fully understood or articulated. It transcended human comprehension. And then the last one is the relationship between names and reality, or the Ming. So the concept of rectification of names, which is the Zheng Ming, was pivotal in Shangzhou. This was the idea that words and concepts should align with their true meaning, and failure to do so would result in confusion and chaos. So Shang's significance lies in its move toward abstraction in Chinese philosophy, and it marked a shift from practical ethics to more speculative and metaphysical questions, setting the stage for the later development of Neo Confucianism. Now, similar to how postmodern philosophy today questions the relationship between language and reality, Shangzhou thinkers were concerned with how language shapes our understanding of the world. The famous Derridian notion of de- deconstruction in Western thought, which suggests that meaning is fluid and contingent on context, mirrors some of the core ideas of in Shangzhou about the limits of language and the non-fixed nature of reality. Now, let's proceed to the background of Shangzhou. So the rise of Shangzhou can be traced to several important factors in the Eastern Han Dynasty. Ang kanyang Han Dynasty's eventual collapse led to political fragmentation and social instability, which prompted intellectuals to seek new ways to understand the world. So, this period saw the rise of a powerful gentry class that sought to make sense of the chaos and promote new forms of governance, self cultivation, and social order. So, ang kanyang mga philosophers during this time were concerned with aligning social and individual behavior with the principle of Tao. So, proceeding with the rise of Shangzi were ideas about the rectifications of names, which is the Zhengming, which sought to ensure that words accurately represented the reality they were meant to describe. So, this focus on linguistic precision was a precursor to the more metaphysical inquiries that would emerge in Shangzhou. Now, here naman sa development of Shangzhou philosophy. There are a lot or key figures in Shangzhou include Hian, a prominent thinker who synthesized Taoist, Confucian, and Buddhist ideas. Si Wang Bi, a scholar who is famous for his commentaries on the Tao Te Ching and the I Ching, and for advocating the idea that Tao could not be fully known but only experienced. Also, si Gu Shang, a philosopher and commentator in Zhangzi who focused on the spontaneity of Tao and the importance of self-cultivation. So, kani silang mga thinkers, they address themes such as the nature of reality, the concept of being and non-being, and the ineffable nature of Tao, which could only be experienced rather than fully conceptualized. So, consider how in modern times thinkers like Immanuel Kant argue that the nominal world or the world as it truly is inaccessible to us, and we can only know the phenomenal world, which is the world as it appears to us. So, this resonates with the Shangzu concept that Tao, like Kant's nomenon, cannot be fully grasped through ordinary understanding, but can only be indirectly experienced through meditation, reflection, and aligning oneself with the natural ideas. Next is the practical and cultural contributions. So Shangsu thinkers sought to integrate the teachings of Confucianism with Taoism, blending ethical teachings with a Taoist emphasis on spontaneity and alignment with the natural flow of the universe. So this synthesis allowed for a more nuanced approach to governance, ethics, and personal cultivation. For example, Confucian ideas about moral conduct were not rejected but were instead interpreted through a Taoist lens, where actions should not or where actions should be in harmony with the natural order rather than being forced or contrived. So, Shangzhou thinkers were also cultural figures. Many were poets, artists, and writers who contributed to the intellectual and aesthetic landscapes of their time. Now that we've explored the background of Shangzhou, let's turn our attention to the Eastern Han period. This era was critical because it set the stage for the emergence of Shangzhou by introducing themes and concepts that later became central to his philosophical movements. The first one is the Taiping Jing and oneness. One of the key texts from this period is the Taiping Jing, or the Scripture of Great Peace. This Taoist text emphasized the idea of oneness, the interconnected of all things. It taught that the harmony within the cosmos mirrored harmony within the body. This idea wasn't just theoretical, it had practical applications, offering methods for aligning one's life with universal principles. For example, the text suggested practices for balancing internal energy and maintaining physical and spiritual well being. This foreshadowed Shangzu's later emphasis on self cultivation and the interplay between the individual and the greater universe. The second one is the He Shanggong's commentary on the Tao Te Ching. Another significant development was He Shanggong's commentary on the Tao Te Ching. This commentary emphasized the Taoist principle of Ziran, or naturalness. He Shanggong's applied this concept to governance, arguing that a ruler should govern by following the Tao, which meant leading with simplicity, humility, and a hands-off approach to allow natural harmony to unfold. So this idea challenged the traditional top-down, authoritarian models of governance and instead promoted a system that aligned with the natural order of things. The next one is the Shang-Er's commentary on the Tao Te Ching. The Shang-Er's commentary took a more practical approach to Taoist philosophy. It served as a guide for moral cultivation, health, and longevity, offering advice on how to live in accordance with the Tao in daily life. These commentaries stressed personal transformation, shaping one's character and habits to align with natural laws and universal principles. It also introduced early Taoist practices aimed at achieving spiritual harmony and physical well being, which Shangzhou thinkers later expanded upon. And the last one is the Wang Chu was and the Wang Chung's view of Ziran. Wang Chung was another influential figure during this time. He approached the concept of Ziran, or the naturalness, as an active principle for self-development. Unlike mystical interpretation, Wang Chung critiqued the idea of divine intervention, arguing that natural phenomena should be understood through reason and observation. So this rational and grounded approach influenced Shangzu's metaphysical focus, encouraging later philosophers to explore Tao and the universe through logical and abstract inquiry rather than relying solely on supernatural explanations. Let's proceed to the next, where the broader themes and contributions of the Shangzu. So, the Eastern Han period was notable for integrating cosmological theories with practical applications. This wasn't just about understanding the universe, but also aligning one's life and action with its principles. So, this holistic approach made Taoist teachings more accessible and practical, laying the groundwork for Shangzuo's metaphysical increase. Now, to the transition to metaphysics, where one of the key contributions of the Eastern Han period was the transition from Taoist cosmology to metaphysics. So ang mga philosophers began to move beyond practical concerns and focus on the deeper, abstract questions of existence and reality. So this shift laid the foundation for Shangzhou, which would go on to explore the nature of Tao, being, and not being in much greater depth. So, by the end of the Eastern Han, we see a profound philosophical transition taking shape. The ideas and commentaries from this period didn't just set the stage for Shangzhou, they represented the first steps in a broader intellectual journey that would shape Chinese thought for centuries to come.
Okay, let's proceed to Shanzi in the Wei dynasty. Heian, on his essay on Tao and essay on the nameless. Tao as ineffable and nameless, interweaving Tao De Jing and Analects, how sages navigate the challenges of describing the indescribable. Now, let's explore the main figure of Shanzi, starting with Yan. On his essay on Tao and Nameless, described Tao as ineffable and nameless, emphasizing the difficulty of describing the indescribable. Heian's work demonstrates how sages navigate the challenge of expressing abstract concepts that defy the limitations of language. Okay, Heian on collected explanations on the Analects, producing a non-sectarian commentary on Confucius' teachings, balanced interpretations, avoiding rigid subjectivity, merged Taoist and Confucian thought. Heian also produced a non-sectarian commentary on Confucius, Analects, which emerged Taoist and Confucian thought. He aimed for balanced interpretations, avoiding rigid subjectivity. His works is an excellent example of how Shanzi thinkers bridge the gap between Taoist spontaneity and Confucian ethics. Okay, let's proceed to the next. Ruanji on comprehending the Zhuangzi. Defense of Zhuangzi principles, reconstructing text with wit and linguistic brilliance, critique Confucian orthodoxy indirectly. Okay, Ruanji is another important thinker, defended the principles of the Zhuangzi. He demonstrated the linguistic brilliance in his reconstruction of text, offering critics of Confucian orthodoxy while maintaining a Taoist perspective. His witty and poetic style made a lasting impact on Zhuangzi. Next is Jikang on music and emotion. Music transcends grief and joy, uplifting emotions to refine sensitivity to the world, and music as a pathway to Taoist harmony. So Jikang also wrote about music as a means to transcend grief and joy. So for him, music was a tool for refining sensitivity to the world, helping individuals align with the Tao. Music in this context was seen as a pathway to Taoist harmony. The next is Wang Bi, Yijing interpretations. Hexagrams as dynamic symbols of Tao's workings shifted Yijing from symbolic text to a living cosmological tool and laid foundations for later metaphysical interpretations. Okay, Wang Bi's interpretation of the Yijing marked a significant shift in how the text was viewed. He turned the I Ching from a symbolic text into a living cosmological tool, emphasizing its dynamic nature. So his work laid the foundation for later metaphysical interpretations of the text. The next is Wangbi on language and nothingness. Interplay of words, images, and meanings, forgetting language to unify with Tao, enhance understanding of the apophatic nature of Tao. Okay, Wang Bi also explored the interplay of language, images, and meanings, emphasizing the importance of forgetting language to unify with Tao. His work helped to deepen the understanding of the world apophatic nature of Tao, which is where the true essence of Tao is beyond language and description. Next is Wang Bi on Tao Te Ching commentary. Ontological versus processual readings, Tao as pluralistic, dynamic, and concrete, broaden the metaphysical perspective in Neo-Daoism. Okay. Finally, no, in his Tao Te Ching commentary, Wang Bi introduced ontological and processual readings of Tao. He described Tao as pluralistic, dynamic, and concrete, moving away from more abstract interpretations. So this broadened the metaphysical perspective within Neo-Daoism. Okay. Now we're done to part 3. Let's now move to part 4, which is Shanzu in the Jin Dynasty. But before we start, let's have a short introduction to this period. Okay, this period expanded the philosophical and metaphysical dimension of Shanzu, focusing on concepts like being, which is you, non-being, which is Wu, self-generation, and the relationship between humans and the cosmos. Two key thinkers are Piwei and Gushang, so they played pivotal roles in shaping these ideas. Okay, let's go to Piwei's emphasis on being. Shifted focus from non-being, which is Wu, to being, which is you. Piwei's major contribution was his reinterpretation of the concept of being, while earlier Shanzhou thinkers like Wang Bi emphasized non-being, which is Wu, as the root of existence. Piwei argued that being, which is you, deserved greater attention because it is the dynamic and tangible aspect of reality. The next is define being as dynamic and influenced by external conditions and challenge earlier Shanzu thinkers who prioritize non-being. He described being as something influenced by external conditions, meaning that existence isn't static but ever-changing and interconnected with the environment. This idea challenged earlier perspectives, offering a more holistic view of existence. So, for example, Peewee argued that being you is dynamic and influenced by external conditions. A modern example of this would be how our identity or personality evolves based on our experiences, environment, and relationships. Another is think about how someone's career, choice, or personal values might change after moving to a new city or meeting new people. Pewe's philosophy teaches us to appreciate this dynamism as part of existence. The next, the next is Gushang's metaphysics and agency. Central concept, self-generation or lone transformation. Gushang's metaphysics introduced the idea of self-generation or lone transformation. He argued that everything in the universe arises from itself rather than from an external source or creator. This was significant departure from traditional Taoists that emphasized external transcendence or cosmological origins. The next is rejected external transcendence, grounding metaphysics in immanence, advocated harmony between the self and the cosmos. By grounding existence in immanence, Guozhang highlighted the interconnectedness of all things. For him, humans and the cosmos were not separate entities but part of a harmonious whole. This harmony required recognizing and aligning with the natural transformation of the world. For example, Gushang's concept of self generation can be seen in how we create our own paths in life. For ex- Another example is consider entrepreneurs who builds business from scratch. They don't rely on external factors to create their success, but instead use their own abilities and resources to shape their future. Gushang's idea reminds us that we have the capacity to grow and transform from within without needing an external force to guide us. Okay, the next is loan transformation and intergrowth. Gushang elaborated on loan transformation by emphasizing the balance between autonomy and interdependence. He acknowledged that while individuals have the ability to act independently, their actions are deeply connected to and influenced by the greater universe. Vision of a harmonious world shaped by individuals and universal interactions, and the sage embodies unity by navigating transformations. His vision of a harmonious world centered to this balance, where personal growth and universal order coexist. The sage in Gushang's view is someone who understands and embodies this unity. By navigating life transformation with wisdom and adaptability, the sage maintains harmony within themselves and with the world. For example, the relationship between individuals and their communities. While we value personal independence like making our decisions, we are still influenced by and contribute to the community around us. Another example is during a group project. Each person works on their part independently, but the success of the project depends on everyone working together. So this reflects Gushang's vision of harmonious world shaped by individual and universal interactions. The next is sagely knowledge and the analects. Reinterpreted Confucius as a Taoist aligned sage. Okay, so in this, no, for example, in addition to his metaphysical contribution, Gushang reinterpreted Confucian teachings through a Taoist lens. He viewed Confucius not just as a moral teacher, but as a Taoist aligned sage who exemplified the integration of ethics and metaphysics. The integrated Confucian ethics with Taoist metaphysics and presented the sage ruler as a model for societal and cosmic harmony. So this interpretation allowed Gushang to bridge Taoist and Confucianist ideas, presenting the sage or ruler as a figure who could achieve harmony not only within themselves but also in society and the cosmos. This idea reinforced the belief that ethical leadership was essential for maintaining balance in the world. Okay, let's proceed to Gihong and the darkness. Gihong is a Taoist thinker, alchemist, and philosopher. Shan or darkness as central to Taoist cosmology and immortality practices. Gihong critiques other Shanzu scholars for focusing on intellectual debates with practical application. Okay, let's begin by understanding who Gihong was. Imagine someone trying to bridge the gap between abstract philosophy and everyday life. That is Gihong, an ordinary Taoist thinker who wanted to make lofty ideas with practical. In his time, The concept of Shan or darkness wasn't just a poetic metaphor. It was central to understanding Tao, which is the way. For Gihong, this darkness wasn't about evil or fear. It was about the mysterious and infinite source of life. Think of it like the ocean, vast, deep, and beyond comprehension. Yet it nurtures all life. He also challenged other scholars who debated endlessly about ideas but never applied them. His works encourage us to go beyond intellectual understanding and live in harmony with this profound mystery. So that is Gihong. The next is the darkness or Shan, represent the primordial source of cosmogonic origin, encompasses nine heavens and eight directions, focus on ineffability, remoteness, and abstractions, practical teachings, longevity through meditation, simplicity, and rejecting sensory indulgence. Now, let's talk about what this darkness really means. Gihong described Shan as the source of everything. Picture this, no? You are looking up at the night sky, seeing stars scattered across the vast darkness. The darkness, not the stars, holds everything together. It's infinite and mysterious. Gihong saw Shan as a source of energy that flows through everything, including us. He also warned us against distractions like chasing sensory pleasures. Too much indulgence clouds our connections to this deeper source. Instead, he taught us to cultivate simplicity and focus on practices that nurture longevity. Longevity. It's like turning down the noise in your life so you can hear the whisper of the wind. For example, think about meditation. By sitting still and breathing deeply, you align yourself with the unseen, like tuning into a hidden frequency. So that's how Gihong believed we could connect with Shan. The next is Seeking Immortality in Gihong's Baopuzi Nepian. Okay, Baopuzi Nepian or Inner Chapters, A Guide to Immortality, focuses on self-cultivation, ethics, alchemy, and meditations. So let's dig deeper. Gihong's Baopuzi Nepian is a guidebook for those seeking immortality, but let's not think of it as a fantasy or myth. For Gihong, immortality was both physical and spiritual. He emphasized aligning with Tao through ethical living, meditation, and practical alchemy. Okay, imagine immortality not as living forever, but as living with profound purpose and harmony. The next is sagehood, immortality, and destiny. So, Gihong believed sagehood was the highest state of human potential, where you harmonize with Tao. Immortality wasn't just about drinking an elixir, it's about inner transformation. While some aspects of destiny are out of our control, he taught that personal effort and moral refinement could shape our future. Okay, for example, think about athletes training for years for a big event. Their success isn't just talent, it's discipline and effort. Similarly, Gihong believed in training our spirit. So that is sagehood, immortality, and destiny. The next is Taoism and Confucianism. Gihong bridges Taoist self-cultivation with Confucian ethics and balance between individuals' spiritual goals and societal duties. Okay, Gihong was like a mediator between Taoism and Confucianism. While Taoism focuses on harmony with nature, Confucianism emphasizes societal ethics. Gihong combined this, showing that we can live ethically in society while pursuing spiritual growth. He's like a friend who says you don't have to choose, you can balance both. So, another example of this is think of volunteering at a local shelter. You are contributing to society, which is Confucianism, while also nurturing your sense of compassion, which is Taoism. So that is Taoism and Confucianism combination. The next is seeking immortality. Breathing techniques are ingesting key for vitality. Alchemy, transforming substances for longevity. Meditation, achieving stillness and spiritual alignment. Okay, Gihong's path to immortality involved three main practices. So that is breathing techniques to absorb life energy, alchemy to transform materials into vitality, and meditation to calm the mind and connect with Tao. Okay. Imagine this as a holistic wellness routine for both body and wellnesses. So today's mindfulness practices echo as an example. When we meditate, it's not just about stress relief, it's about centering ourselves. So that is seeking immortality through breathing, alchemy, and meditations. The next is ethics and self cultivations. So the key virtues moderation, humility, and detachment, and the ethical behavior as the foundation for spiritual growth. For Gihong, self cultivation wasn't optional, it was essential. He emphasized virtues like humility, moderation, and detachment from materials desire. So these qualities clear the mind and purify the spirit. So how we feel when we declutter our homes. Like, for example, removing the unnecessary makes room for clarity. So Gihong applied this principle to self itself. So that is ethics and self cultivation. Okay. The next is nourishing life. How to nourish life. So have proper diet, exercise, and key cultivation for longevity and harmony between body and mind. Gihong also emphasized nourishing life through proper diet and exercise. For him, food wasn't just sustenance, it was medicine. The way we treat our bodies reflects our respect for life. So, example of that, you can say that skip the junk food and eat something wholesome, not just for health but to align with the flow of Tao. The next is meditation and alchemy. So, meditation provides clarity and alignment with Tao. Alchemy symbolizes inner transformation. Okay, meditation was the mental aspect of immortality, while alchemy was the physical. Together, they symbolize transformation not just of substances but of ourselves. Okay, you can just imagine turning lead into gold. So that's what alchemy was. So it's like a metaphor for personal growth. So that is meditation and alchemy. The next is Gihong's evolving discourse on Yu and Wu. Yu, which is presence, and Wu, which is absence, as complementary facets of Tao and rooted in Tao Te Ching, which is the unity through duality. Gihong explored Yu and Wu, showing how opposites complement each other. It's like night and day. They seem different but depend on each other to exist. For him, these ideas rooted in the Tao Te Ching help explain the mystery of the Tao. So you can just say music. It's the pauses between notes that give rhythm. That is Wu working with you. The next is the Shanzu lifestyle. Simplicity, stillness, and balance, cultivating key for healing and empowerment, techniques, just breathing, moderation, and self discipline. So, the Shanzu lifestyle is about simplicity, self reflection, and key practices. By moderating desires, healing with key, and practicing discipline, we align with Tao and find balance. So you can just think or use an example, the Tai Chi. The slow, deliberate movements teach us to channel energy while staying calm. The next is Zedong on freedom. Synthesizes Taoist and Buddhist views on liberation, inner freedom through detachment and harmony, redefines free wandering as spiritual liberation. Okay, Zedong synthesized Taoism and Buddhism, focusing on freedom through detachment. He redefined free wandering not as physical travel, but as liberating the mind from worries. So, inner freedom allows us to move through life with grace. So, for example, you are carrying a heavy backpack. When you let go, you feel light. That is what Zedon meant, letting go of emotional burdens. So, that is for Gihong teaches us that philosophy is not just something we study, it's something we live. So his focus on simplicity, self cultivation, and harmony remains relevant, urging us to connect with the mystery of life and strive for transformation. Okay, to conclude this presentation, Shanzhou, blending Taoist, Confucian, and Buddhist ideas, explore the harmony of being and non being, the ineffability of Tao, and self cultivation. Thinkers like Wang Bi and Gu Shang shaped its metaphysical, ethical, and practical dimension, influencing Chinese philosophy, Buddhism, and Neo Confucianism. Its legacy endures as a profound pursuit of unity between self, society, and the cosmos. And that would be all for Neo Daoism. Thank you.